What is up, hobby friends? In this video, I want to just give my experience and insight with the TableWar cases. I've been using them for the better part of 5 years now. I've taken them to quite a number of events, and I've used them for anything ranging from small scale skirmish games like Guild Ball and Marvel Crisis Protocol into larger games like 40K and Age of Sigmar. So if you're thinking about getting these cases, hopefully my experience will give you some insight into which case is right for you and allow you to make a more informed purchasing decision. So a little bit about, the company, or as an overview. They are American-based, and they manufacture these cases in 3 different sizes. So there's the mini case, which is their smallest, the half, and then the full, which is their largest size. They're designed around a tray system, so that you can interchange trays and swap out armies and models very easily depending on what you want to carry at the time and what you're currently playing. In terms of general aesthetics, I think the cases are very well designed. They look very pretty and they're very sturdy. For the premium price, I think they're great value. They also come with a clear plexi cover. So when you bring it to an event or you're carrying the case around, you can very clearly see what's in the case. It's a great way to show off your models. And then because of this, you can also use the cases as a form of pseudo storage. So if you don't have display cabinets like what you see behind me, you can still have these cases set aside with the plexi open to the front. And it's a cool way to show off your models, especially if you have them on a shelf for good visibility. The removable doors and articulating tops, along with the removable trays and inserts, makes it very easy to take models in and out of the cases. And then they all come with storage trays that make it possible to pack everything you need to play the game into one carrying case. The 3 major cons that I have with the case, so the availability, the weight, and then the cost, all have to tie in with the fact that TableWar is an American-based company. So the cases in and of themselves, even empty, are fairly heavy. Because of this, it does make shipping the cases across the US and then even internationally quite expensive, which does increase the cost of the case, potentially up to about 50%, at least here in Canada. And then this factors into the limited availability of the cases themselves. Because hobby stores don't tend to sell a lot of them, and because it does cost them so much more to carry them in, they don't order them as often, which means that very often you're ordering them yourselves and then you're having to pay a fairly expensive shipping cost for them, which does factor into, I think, a huge con for why these cases may not be the right thing for you, especially if you don't live in the States. So just talking very briefly about each of the cases, going from smallest to largest. So the mini case I found is really, really good for skirmish games with low model counts. So games like Guild Ball, Malifaux, Marvel Crisis Protocol. Although I do find if you start to get into medium-sized models, so in Marvel, this is like Amazing Spider-Man, She-Hulk, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Dr. Voodoo, Baron Mordo, anything with a little bit of height, and you still want to use this storage tray, you're realistically only going to get 1 tray of models. This is the case I use most frequently because Marvel is the game I play the most often. However, because I also have a tray with my measuring sticks, tokens, and some character cards, I do have a dice tray where I have my larger postcard character cards as well as my dice. And then I do want to carry a card binder that has all of my assortment of tactics cards, scenario cards, some extra character cards that I can swap out on the fly depending on whether I'm playing a more casual narrative game or something more competitively. I can't fit everything into this case, and I end up having this case and a backpack, which, I mean, given its size, not a big deal. That's really my only con for the mini. The half case is actually my favorite of the 3 cases. It's a good balance of size and space. It's able to hold a good amount of models ranging from small to medium in size, and you can still take advantage of the storage tray underneath to carry gaming accessories like dice trays, measuring sticks, and your army books. I find it can be good for games like 40K and Age of Sigmar, where your army size can be fairly big, but only if your armies don't have big models. So for 40K, My Death Watch are a really good example where even with larger models like my suppressors, I can still fit my 2000 points in the case and still have a storage tray for my accessories. For Age of Sigmar, if you're playing something like Stormcast or maybe Fire Slayers that don't have a lot of big models, you can probably get away with the half size, fit your entire army in there along with your gaming accessories and not have to worry about carrying anything else. However, and this is my biggest con with the case, is the fact that when you start playing games that you do have a lot of big models for, you're going to struggle to really take advantage of the half and be able to carry your entire army, even without a storage tray. A lot of the big monsters I found will take up the entire case themselves, and you're going to struggle to carry both the monsters or tanks along with the infantry you need to play the game into the half. Which does lead us to the full size. So this is the case that I use the most often for the large scale games like 40k and Age of Sigmar, and this is because of the height. It uses the same trays as the half, but because its height is more than double, I can use half of the case to carry big monsters like my walkers, my Silent King, things like my Junk Force ships, and still have 1 or 2 trays to carry a lot of the smaller infantry, and be able to use a storage tray to carry my gaming accessories. It is, however, my least favorite case because of its size, and I find it very challenging to fit into the trunk of any vehicle that isn't a hatchback or an SUV. So if you drive a sedan, you're probably going to have to put it in the back seat and then buckle it up in case it does want to tip over, depending on how aggressively you drive, as well as your suspension. So I drive a sport hatchback, so what I have to do is put the back seat down, I put the case all the way in the front, and then I brace it with the divider to stop the case from sliding backwards or tipping over. If I am using an SUV, I'll brace it with other cases or other things like a backpack or whatever, or sometimes I'll have to bungee it in place to stop it from slipping and sliding around. So in terms of recommending or which case I would recommend that you can pick up, really consider the games that you do currently play. If you play a lot of 40k and Age of Sigmar, and you have a lot of large tanks and monsters that you do need to carry, I would recommend getting the full size. It's going to be the most flexible of the 3 cases. You're going to have the option and be future-proofed to play armies that have more tanks and monsters and still be able to carry your entire army comfortably without issue. Just bear in mind the challenges you're going to have in actually transporting the case around, depending on the vehicle you buy. An alternative that may cost a little bit more, but would also be a little more flexible, is to buy 2 half cases. So you have 1 half case purely for carrying your monsters and tanks, and 1 half case for your infantry, and still be able to easily transport it into your car or what have you. Just bear in mind that if you do have some of the bigger monsters like Nagash or Archaon, or even Be'lakor, they don't fit into the half case. You're going to have to buy the full case and deal with the challenges that come with owning that case. I think if you mostly play skirmish games but want to dabble in some of the larger games or carry a larger assortment of characters, the half case is probably your best bet. Either 1 or 2 of them, like I already mentioned, for carrying a larger army. I would actually only recommend carrying or buying the mini case as a luxury item. If you already have both the full and the half, and you want to have a bit of a flexibility to carry just a handful of models and accessories, or maybe you're only going to somewhere to paint, you can use the mini case to carry the 1 or 2 models you're working on, and then you can have your paints, your brushes, your wet palette underneath without taking up a lot of space, and it's very easy to carry. So that's it for this video. I hope that my experiences gives you some insight into the 3 different cases, and if you're looking into picking up one of them, you can make a more informed purchasing decision. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and you can check out my other social media platforms. I'll drop links in the description below. And as always, until next time, happy hobbying.